minutes of this on Sunday night could dramatically change your life. Are you ready? Hi everyone and welcome back to Plan for Productivity. For those of you who are new, my name is Andrea and today we're going to be talking about our weekly reflection. It is something that a lot of people who try to stay on top of their life do on a regular basis, and today I'm going to walk you through why I do this, how I do it, and how you can apply this to your life. So grab yourself your cup of tea, light up a candle, and let's start reflecting. Sundays, I like to do what I call my Sunday reset, and this involves a lot more steps than just the weekly reflection, and it is kind of a day that I take to get started on the week with a little more energy, enthusiasm, and motivation. But this weekly reflection is the first part of my Sunday reset. So I'll definitely be making a separate video about the whole Sunday routine. Consider subscribing if that's something you would like to watch. But today we're just gonna get into what a reflection is, how I go about and do it, and of course all the timestamps will be linked in the description below. So in summary, I like to think of a weekly reflection as a time where you sit down to think and reflect and analyze a little bit of how your past week went and if that aligns with what you believe to be important and what you want out of your life. And if it doesn't, how to make plans for that to change. I actually got inspired to do this based on other YouTubers and mentors and books that I've read, but I realized very quickly that the reason why I kept doing this is because it allows me to stay ahead of the game and start living a proactive life instead of a reactive one, which basically means that you're just not reacting to everything that's happening to you and you're just dealing with it as it comes, but rather you're planning ahead and being prepared for what is about to come into your life. So this weekly routine allows me to stay on top of my game, stay organized, and make sure that I'm working towards my priorities and my goals throughout the whole week, and not just sporadically whenever I get motivation or I'm inspired. I would recommend this to anyone that feels a little bit overwhelmed or like their life lacks a little bit of control, and if you're just feeling like you have a lot of things that you want to do but you can't sort of find the time to do them. Like I mentioned before, I try to do this on Sunday nights just because that's what I feel gives me like a head start on the week. But you can also do this any day of the week that you want, actually, just as long as it's something that you're doing on a regular basis. And after doing this, I'll go ahead and plan the rest of my week. So this gives me a little bit of insight, and then I go ahead and make the plans for this to happen in the future. What is it that I actually reflect on? And throughout the years, I've been changing this up a lot. I get inspiration from other people. Without further ado, I separate my reflection in two parts. First, I reflect on my life, and then I reflect on my goals. So for each of these categories, I ask 4 questions, and that's it. 8 questions total. It takes me literally less than 15 minutes, and it makes a huge difference into how I go about my life. So let's get started. What are my wins for the week? And here I mean like what went right during this week? What did I accomplish? What great thing happened to me? How did I overcome an obstacle that I had? What are the wins? Anything that I can celebrate for this week? And as many of these as you have, write them down. It'll make you feel so good when you can look back and see all of the little things that you've been doing consistently towards a better life that you want. Second question is, what's not working? And by this, I mean like what is happening in my life that is just not going well, you know? Like it can be little things like, I don't know, it doesn't work that I have to go and dig my coffee out of a cabinet every time. I would just rather it was on the counter because I use it on a regular basis. Something as simple as that, or what's not working is I am no longer passionate about my goals. That's a much bigger topic. It doesn't matter. It's just about reflecting on what are the things that you're not kind of happy about in your life, and what are the things that are kind of like making your life a little more uncomfortable, more difficult. And actually these little things are the ones that help me the most. And this takes like literally 2 minutes because it'll be something that's completely present in your mind. The third question is, what am I avoiding? And for this, I mainly think about what I'm procrastinating on. What are those tasks that I keep migrating and I never get them done? What are the things that I don't want to do? And then if you have a chance and you have this introspection, try to reflect on why. Why are you avoiding it? Is it because it's something that takes you 2 minutes that you just don't think it's important but you have to do? Or is it something deeper than just pure procrastination? And this will give me a list of things that I should get to soon because I've been procrastinating them for too long. The first question is, what loops do I need to close? Now, this one doesn't make sense to anyone, I know. Basically, this comes from this theory that if you have a task in your mind, let's say I have to take out the trash, and you don't deal with it, in the back of your mind, you'll always be trying to think about that task, not forget that you have to do it, deal with it, close that open loop that you left in your brain of actually dealing with that task. Whether dealing with it is writing it down on something that'll remind you or actually doing that task, it doesn't matter. Another example of this is, let's say that somebody tells you, oh, do you remember what that's called? And then like, no one can remember, so you'll let it go and you'll be doing something else completely different, and then suddenly the word bombs into your head and you're like, I just remembered. That is literally an open loop. Like, your brain in the back of your mind was just trying to work that out, trying to find it without you even noticing. And this takes up energy, and why would you want to do this? Like, why wouldn't you want your brain let you focus on what you actually have to focus? So that's why I write all of these tasks down. What is it that I haven't done? Those little to-dos and tasks that I have to get done that are eating up energy of my mind. And that does it for my life section. This honestly takes like no time at all. It's super quick because it's not that reflective. It's just more like, okay, let's get organized. And then my goals part is a little more intricate and a little more reflective. My first question is, what progress did I do towards my goals this week? And this is a big one, and this helps because it allows me to see more or less where I'm at with my goals, like how on schedule am I, how behind, how inspired, how much I've been working on them, and stuff like that. And also, it allows me to celebrate the fact that I have been working on them. What milestones have you accomplished? What little things did you do to work towards that goal, no matter how little and insignificant they seem to be? This is a time where you can just appreciate and be proud of yourself for that. The next question is, what can I do next week to get closer to my goal? So kind of like the counterpart to what you did already, it's like, where am I going next? You know, this is the next milestone that I have to achieve. This is the next thing that I have to work on. This is the next little task that I have to do this week so that I'll be a little bit closer to my goal. What is it? Write it down so that you have a new task that you can add into your week. The third question I got from Amy Landino is, what do I wish I were doing more of? And this is basically like just reflective, like, oh, I wish I was exercising more. I wish I was eating healthier. I wish I was reading more. I wish I was talking to my family a little more. I wish, etc., etc. Like, the list can go on forever and ever. And the reason why I keep this list is not necessarily to do something the following week about it if I don't feel like I have the time, energy, or interest in that moment. It's more like, okay, I've been writing, I wish I were going to the gym every week for the past 4 months. Let's do something about it. Look for the patterns, the things that you repeatedly want more of, and try to see what are the things that you can actually include into your life if these things keep coming up in your what I wish I were doing list. And the final question is, am I on track? Now, this is as broad as you want it to be. For me, this is about my life in general. So I try to pick like a focus for the year, a word for the year or whatever, and I try to see if during the weeks and during my routines and everything that I'm doing, am I on track towards that life? Am I becoming the person that I want to be? Am I working for my goals? Am I completely off track and not ideal what I'm doing with my life? How do I change that? You know, so it's about reflecting on where you're heading and if that aligns with your vision of your future. Now what? Yeah, now what? You have all this reflection, and now what? What are you gonna do with it? Exactly. Do something about it. Apply it to your life. Now we're gonna take all of these reflections and see how we can fit it into our future calendar and see what are the things that we can work on this week specifically, next week maybe, in the future, that you actually want to work on, that you've been reflecting on. I will, of course, make a video about that later. Let me know if you would like to see that in the comments below. There is no rule book for reflection. You don't have to write 10 pages worth of what your thoughts are. You don't have to answer the questions a certain way. You don't even have to ask yourself those questions. You can make this whatever you want it to be. If you just want to sit down and think about your thoughts without any specific order or guideline, do it. The important thing is that you are taking the time to be with your thoughts, analyzing a little bit of where you're going, taking this pause in your life to see what it looks like before you move on to the next week. Because if you take that pause and you actually realize what the things are that you want more of or less of in your life, you'll be able to make a change immediately. Not the next year, not with the next resolution, now for next week. Actionable in the moment. And that is such a powerful tool when it comes to bettering your life and when it comes to actually working for the things that you're passionate about. So that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and you found something valuable out of it. And if you did, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you back for more videos like this. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.